Hello everyone, welcome back in the post show after day 3. England still dominating, India trailing by a big margin of 300 plus. And again today I have with me Monty Panesar. Hello Monty, how are you first of all?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, and do you think the pitch is now starting to play tricks? Because on the first couple of days it was an absolute road. It was absolutely flat, no help for the bowlers. But now that England are bowling, there is some spite in the pitch. Do you think it's changing a little as the days are progressing?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more turning on the pitch, and the wicket's probably slightly slower as well. Not the same pace. So, I think after the first sort of 20, 30 overs, the wicket actually, as a batsman, you can look to attack, and then when Rishabh Pant came on to when he came on to bat, he kind of it's actually it's the way the Indian batsman probably should look to play is be attacking, but also they've had some I think you can sort of say the way Pujara got out is probably a little bit fortunate. Rahane got out on a full toss. So, England probably had a bit more sort of fortune in this game, but I think in general England's probably played the better cricket. The spinners have bowled better. Jack Leach got finally a bit more rhythm, got some nice revs on the ball. So overall, I think England should be happy with their day's performance.
And also there has been a big difference in the fielding of both the sides. Rishabh Pant missing a stumping, Rohit Sharma dropping a catch, Pujara almost dropping that one at deep 45, deep fine 45. Do you think fielding has been a difference point of difference between the sides?
I think England have just been a bit sharper, and they've played a couple of Test matches. They probably a bit more game ready than India. I know they've played in England, but they've actually they've had such a chopping and changing of team that this is the team that's playing right now. There's a few players who didn't play in that Brisbane Test match. So India feel like a little bit they sort of you know I think they're sort of getting into the game, but they've kind of been last couple of days the team that's the overseas team. It feels like in England are the ones who are hosting India.
Absolutely, I think. Yeah, it is looking like, but at Chennai it was more about the toss, I think. And after winning the toss, England have gained a big advantage, I think, because the pitch will now start to play tricks. And when England batted, before that they took the heavy roller, and when India batted, they took the light roller. What is this dynamics of the taking the roller, the heavy one and the light one? Could you explain it to us?
Yeah, I think with the light roller, because of this, the way I think India probably don't want to break the pitch up as much. They keep using the heavy roller, the wicket will start turning more and more. So they're using the light roller to minimize that effect, while England are going to be using the heavy roller as much as they can as they to break the wicket up. So from that point of view, you can see that India, yeah, they are worried about the wicket turning and bouncing, and we know the average score is under 100, a fourth innings, average score in Chennai. So, I think at some point tomorrow, England will be batting and probably put India in at the sort of last hour maybe or just before tea if they do really well. It's 4 wickets, but cricket's a funny game. There could be some strange dismissals, and the game is changed altogether. So, today they've been 2 key wickets, 2 big wickets, Pujara and Rahane, which on a full toss hit the fielder. On another day, probably went for 4. Rahane just sort of hit it a bit harder, went through the ball again, 4 runs. So big wickets, and I think it's changed the context of this match.
The way Chiteshwar Pujara actually got out, the ball lobbing up after hitting Oli on a cricket field, Monty. Do you have any memory of it?
I've had a few games like that. I remember when Imzamam hit his own wicket, or I got him out, actually hit his foot. And these are sort of just incidences which are probably happens in cricket. That's what there's the battle of the spinners tossing the ball up against the batsman attacking, and then there's the other one where you bowl short and wide and you get a wicket. So I think England have probably had the luck's been on their side. and rightly so. They've probably batted really well. They've been the team that is much stronger. If India can somehow save this Test match, which I doubt very much, it will be an amazing effort. But India need to bat, I think at least 2 sessions tomorrow with 4 wickets in hand to take time out of the game.
I think back when you pushed Inzamam ul Haq onto the stumps, I think everyone will remember that for eternity. And I think India's first target would be to avoid the follow-on, which is seeming tough at the moment. Let's move on to our next segment, which is the best tweets of the game. That is the best tweets of day 3. So Gautam Kar is saying, even if India win the series from here, I reiterate, Virat Kohli must concentrate on his batting graciously, handing over the leadership to the following gentlemen: ODIs and T20s, Rohit Sharma, and in Tests, Ajinkya Rahane. What do you think about this? So this lad is actually saying that Virat Kohli should focus more on his batting and hand over the baton to other players, Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane in limited overs and Tests respectively. What do you think of that opinion?
Well, I think give Virat Kohli the Test series, see how he goes about that. Maybe the one-dayers, and then maybe make an assessment, and ask Virat Kohli himself. Maybe he's lost that edge a little bit. Fatherhood kind of does that to you, makes you a bit more kinder, a bit more softer, and I don't know if that's what's happened to Virat. His first time he's had a child in his life, and maybe we're seeing the softer, nicer side of Virat Kohli, and that's sort of taken the edge out of him as a sportsman.
I think having a child has taken the child out of him, because now we don't see him celebrating with passion. It's been a long time now. We've seen 3 days of Test cricket with Virat Kohli being the skipper, and he's not celebrated wickets like he has before. Let's move on to the second tweet. Plank is saying, next match, I'm sure Moin will be coming back in place of Jack Leach, making the spin department stronger and the batting deeper. Pant won't be able to unleash against him like he did against Leach. How do you assess Leach's performance today? I think it's too early to judge the way he's bowled today.
Yeah, well, Jack Leach, I remember when Adam Gilchrist, took me apart and hit me for a few sixes on Perth, which wasn't a turning wicket. So here it's turning, and he's gonna. I think Dom Bess as well as Jack Leach, they're gonna learn a lot about their game when a batsman's attacking. How do you hold your nerve? Do you keep floating the ball up? Do you let the batsman hit you out of the ground? Do you go the easier option, get him off strike? And in my opinion, you got to play the sort of calculated risks. You got to think, how do I get Rishabh Pant off strike? What do I do to get him off strike? And does Dom Bess bowling from the other end? Does he keep him on strike for the next over? Like little things like that. So you don't get hit out of the ground. And that's something I think Jack Leach should learn. Because it's great, throwing it up and bowling it out of the rough, and it's it'd be brilliant to get a wicket, but Dom Bess got him out in the end because the ball was turning away. So I think he needs to just sort of make an assessment and think, maybe come round the wicket a bit early, maybe when I'm bowling to Rishabh Pant, just get him off strike. Just get him off strike, bowl to the right hander. You get a wicket against the right hander, suddenly Rishabh Pant has to change his game plan. He'll probably think, I may not want to bat so freely. So they're the sort of things I think these young spinners are going to learn about themselves, especially on these turning pitches. It's going to be a great tool for their learning.
When a batsman like Rishabh Pant is actually going hell for leather against you, do you go for the kill? Do you keep floating it above the eye line, or do you make a conscious effort to get that batsman off strike? Because there is a risk that the batsman is taking, and there is a chance of a wicket. Which advice would you offer is better, taking him off strike or just going for the kill and taking the wicket?
I probably would have, given it a couple of more deliveries and see if gone maybe round the wicket, changed the angle, and then if you're successfully, on your day, some batsmen, they're connecting the ball well, and today Rishabh Pant was just hitting that ball so well that you couldn't stop him. He was just brilliant, and for the fans' point of view, that's what everybody wants to see. It's like, if you don't understand Test cricket or you're not a fan of it, when Rishabh Pant comes on to bat, switch the channel, just watch cricket, because I tell you what, he's an entertaining cricketer.
Whatever approach he actually takes, it is entertaining for sure, definitely. Let's move on to the third tweet of the day. Prince Parashar says, finally, we have the second generation Virender Sehwag in the form of Rishabh Pant for Test cricket. Awesome batting, Pant ji. What do you make of his approach? Living by the sword, dying by the sword. Should he have been a little bit mature when he was batting against Dom Bess, because the ball was turning away and it was a risky shot? Probably he was trying to go over long off, but ended up lobbing it up to a deep cover. Should he have minimized the risk against Dom Bess and keep going after Jack Leach?
Well, that's something I think Dom Bess. That's something Rishabh Pant will have to learn about himself. I think what he will have to do is think, the ball turning away. You know, was it the right thing to do? You know, could I've just not kept on going with it, because he didn't really hit Dom Bess out of the ground as much. If anything, he was hitting him for four, for the boundaries, and so I think that what Rishabh Pant needs to do is work out his game plan. Against Jack Leach, yeah, ball spinning in, go for the big sixes. Against Dom Bess, when you hit the ball in the air, but you want it to just bounce once before it hits the rope for four. The trajectory is different. Your angles are different. He's going to hit more towards cover mid on, just in that gap, rather than I think he went too square. He was trying to hit that bit too square. So he may just have different game plans. Okay, my boundary option against Dom Bess isn't to hit a six, but one bounce four.
Definitely, I think, and when you're playing at this level, it's more about the mindset than the technique. He is not right out of the textbook, but you need to change your mindset according to the situation that you're in. And I think Rishabh Pant will learn that on the job. Let's move on to our last segment, that is the scorecard and how it looks like. England, of course, not getting bundled out, racking up a lot of runs, 578 all out in 190 overs. We will just talk about the batsmen that batted today. Dom Bess, 34 of 105, decent hand from him. Jofra Archer getting out for a duck. Jack Leach, 14 of 57, another good hand from him. James Anderson, just that one he got. And the Indian bowling attack, 3 wickets for Jasprit Bumrah, 3 wickets for Ashwin, 2 for Ishant, and Shahbaz Nadeem also getting 2, but was a bit expensive. Being a left arm spinner, Monty, Shahbaz Nadeem, do you think it was lack of experience, or was he just not landing it in the right areas? What went wrong with him? Because he conceded a lot of runs and he was not getting into the groove even after bowling so many overs. How do you assess Shahbaz Nadeem in this test?
Well, I think he probably, was. Firstly, I don't think he was expecting to play the Test match. So I don't think mentally he was prepared to play. And then they kind of told him 1 minute you're playing, and you kind of think he's just fulfilling that role. He's not really bowling the best of what we've seen him. And the more he kept on bowling, the tired he got, the action got tired. And I don't think mentally he was prepared for the match, to be honest. And just the way his attitude and is, for him it's like, I've got to play this Test match, but he wasn't prepared for it at all. And I think that's something in the second innings he needs to turn around. He needs to think, right, sometimes Test cricket opportunities don't just come by playing, Ranji Trophy games, taking wickets, being in great form. Sometimes they just come by when suddenly there's an injury and you're completely expecting it unexpected out of the blue. He's got to say to Virat Kohli, right, second innings, I'm going to spin it. I'm going to get that ball to spin. I'm going to get the right-handers out. The wicket is turning. I'm going to be that man for you. He really needs to turn it around. And that would be a great for him, to actually show the selectors that, I wasn't expected to be in the squad, but now I'm going to show you how good I am. And he should really have that kind of mindset and attitude.
He actually has that ability, because day in, day out, season after season, he's taken 50 plus wickets in the Ranji Trophy for Jharkhand. But I think in this match, what happened was, at one moment you were supposed to carry the drinks and bananas, And at one moment, the next moment, you get a call up for the Indian team. You've got to play a test match against England. Tough, but you got to take your opportunities. And now let's talk about the Indian scorecard. 257 for six at the end of third day's play. 74 overs played by India. Rohit Sharma got an absolute jaffer from Jofra Archer. Shubman Gill looked $1 million, I think, 29 of 28, but got out a bit too early. Cheteshwar Pujara, another beautiful innings from him, 73 of 143, getting out at the wrong time, and that too very, very unlucky. Virat Kohli, 11 of 48, getting out to Dom Bess. Ajinkya Rahane, what a catch it was from Joe Root. And Rishabh Pant, 91 of 88. Washington Sundar, 33. Ravichandran Ashwin 8. Washington and Ravichandran Ashwin at the crease right now. Rishabh Pant did turn it around for India, but got out a little too early again. And the England scorecard: wickets for Jofra Archer, wickets for Dom Bess. James Anderson still wicketless, but I think he will come into the match as the days progress. Monty, what do you think India need to do after this on day 4 to come back into this game? They just need to
I
save
think I
this
think
test.
India have to take time out of the game. That's important. Or get close to the total. Like just India, you're just unpredictable, aren't they? They'll lose a few wickets. They'll play fearless cricket, and they scored 100 runs in this session. I think tomorrow they need a similar sort of session. Really, they need to score obviously about another, let's say, I don't know, put another 100 on that. Probably lose a couple of wickets, so 350 for 8, for example, and that's a great session for India. But they're still behind the game.
Yeah.
Even after when you say that, they're still behind the game, and I think England probably need to just bat another session, really, another couple of hours, or 2 sessions, and they've still got the whole day. They've still got the whole of fifth day to bowl India out, and that is India having a good day with the bat, So there's so much time out of the game. I think England are in such a dominant position, that they hold the ace cards, and it'll be up to Joe Root at some point when he declares in the third innings what's totally set, and it's going to be the time. How much time does he need to take another 10 wickets? Is it 4 sessions? Is it 3.5? That's something he will have to make his judgment call.
Yeah, it's not about runs anymore. I think it's about the time, biding your time at the crease for India and taking those wickets as soon as possible for England. Of course, now India cannot win the game. We have ruled out that possibility because they're too far behind in the game. But they can still save the game. And Monty has told you what India need to do to come back into this game to save the first test at Chepauk. And that was my time with Monty. Thank you for talking to us. It was lovely talking to you again. Again, we'll come back tomorrow. All the Sports Tiger viewers, keep watching Sports Tiger. I'll come back with Monty again, having a chat, discussing the fourth day, what all will happen. We'll see you again. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you very much.